Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Oh, it's working. Great. 1 second. I will open the second link as well to see the comments.
And I also treat that with Jacques Boudin, that we meet here at 6 o'clock. Yeah, so maybe you want to I'm sorry? We're actually going to be doing something.
Okay, so can everyone hear me? And we can start. Hello, hello. Okay, great then. So welcome guys to the first session about the world's largest lesson and the beautiful things that we are going to do in Cartagena, Colombia. And I think you heard a bit about this already at your MCP summits and as well from your MCPs. So if we can start by just writing in the comments for people present so we know the entities and we'll know how to downscale it better. For the rest, one second, I'm loading in parallel. Okay. Oh, beautiful. United States and Portugal and Norway and Kenya and Paraguay and Peru and Panama. Beautiful. Okay. So guys, a little bit about the world's largest lesson first. It's an initiative that is run by Project Everyone together with in partnership with UNICEF. And as well, you might heard that in the previous year, we were also partnering with Project Everyone and started our pretty much big partnership this year, starting from the previous USpeak Forum. Yes. So the idea of the Global USpeak Forum is to activate young people and to activate our delegates in practice. And so how we want to, the framework of the USpeak Forum is inspire, engage, and act. And so how we want to do it and to refresh a bit the context of the USpeak Forum this year is to actually mobilize young people to do an action and a particular change inside the USpeak Forum framework itself. So that's why we decided to introduce this very practical concept of world's largest lesson at the USpeak Forum. So as I mentioned, the project itself, the initiative is aimed to educate kids and about the Sustainable Development Goals and to make them an active participant and active part of the SDGs and Sustainable Development Agenda. So what we are working on right now as AIESEC and Project Everyone in partnership is also creating the peer-to-peer SDG curriculum. I guess you might have heard about this as well already. So what it means is we are creating the educational framework about the sustainable development goals, which is particularly designed by young people for other young people, so to educate other youth. And that is something that we will be launching at Global Youth Speak Forum at AIESEC. So that's why this activational part is actually highly connected to what we are trying to do, as well as the part of the Youth for Global Goals initiative, and something that will impact AIESEC for next year as well. So in terms of the curriculum, so a bit of overview. So it will be realized and will be spread together with Project Everyone and as well Asian Development Bank. So that are the partners that we have been working on. And it aims to, so what we aim to do as AIESEC is actually to implement it through our educational projects in SDG 4 as well. So that's why for a lot of delegates at AIESEC, run the world's largest lesson will be a practice of how we want to reshape the educational projects around the target 4.8, so actually to educate more young people about sustainable development. So this is one of the main launching reasons why we will be running the world's largest lesson part at Youth Speak Forum. Another part of this thing, so I asked Maitek to help me as well to click the slides, and it's the slide about the high-level political forum, so if you can scroll down there, is actually about the showcasing power of this initiative and the PR power behind the initiative of the world's largest lesson. So as I mentioned already, yes, it's run in partnership with UNICEF, and what we are working on right now is, first part is a plan between Project Everyone, UNICEF and AIESEC on how to showcase this initiative to the world and how to make sure that more governments will actually adopt the SDG curriculum for themselves as one of the ways to engage young people into the sustainable development, and as well on how we will engage more development sector, agencies, etc., and the external world itself, partners, media, into getting to know what is the role of young people and what is the practical impact that young people can do in the SDGs in one day. So for us, the aim, so what is the external overview of how we want to showcase it is actually by showing that young people can create this massive change, and that Cartagena became one of the most educated cities on sustainable development because of the role that young people played in this. That's why we are closely working with MC Colombia and CC in order to invite government. We have confirmed participation by UNICEF in Colombia, as well as other UN agencies that are coming in for this day, in particular because of the world's largest lesson activation that we will be doing. And what is the final showcasing moment for us? So the next day after the Global Youth Speak Forum, there will be the high-level political forum happening in the United Nations headquarters, and UNICEF will be as well running one of the spaces there, and it will be the whole event dedicated to the world's largest lesson. And it's literally on the next day after our Youth Speak Forum. So we will be showcasing what is the impact done by youth yesterday, literally in one of the cities, and how it can be replicated around the world. So that's why it's a very big, I would say, PR moment for us in terms of how are we going to showcase and run AIESEC activities later on, and to seriously prove the impact that young people can do on the sustainable development goals if only we have resource and access towards relevant organizations and opportunities. So that is the second part. Can you scroll down, please, Maitek? It's a bit of, yeah. So how we actually plan to do it. So first part is, of course, Cartagena, Colombia. So the physical space of the agenda of the USPIC forum, and that is something that you will see later on of how it's going to work. But as well, what we want to do is to engage AIESEC network and externals around the world in order to deliver the lesson on 12th of July as well, to showcase what it can be the global outreach that AIESEC can create in this initiative. So usually the part of the world's largest lesson is being run as a project of Project Everyone, sorry, 2x project, is run in September and October, but because we are launching the part of the youth curriculum, and it will not be educated by teachers anymore, but by fellow young people too. That's why we are shifting this big focus on the launching and making it as big as it is possible on 12th of July, but as well, this is something that we will be introducing the curriculum inside our projects, and that is something that we'll be running later on a constant basis. Next slide. So what is the objective of the workshop that we will be, okay, let's first, do you have any questions about why are we running the activation? And we'll be talking a bit later on, later about how to run it inside the entity and how, what are our tips and tricks to work that. And I think that would be a bit clearer, like make it a bit clearer as well on how you can take value out of it inside your own entity as well. Additionally, I not only support the global initiative, but in terms of the global part. And Maita, can I ask you to copy paste questions because I cannot see them? Beautiful. Okay, so if we don't have questions now, I will continue. So about the objective of the workshop, as you see, we are trying to create awareness in students of the schools about their role as global citizens by understanding the Sustainable Development Goals. So what we try to do is actually to align the context of the workshop that we will be delivering along with the educational purposes of the government of Colombia and the particular competencies and the curriculum that they are teaching, so that we are maximizing the impact on the students, and we are going aligned together with the educational strategy for Colombia, and actually amplifying what government is trying to do as the positive impact. So that is why we will be focusing mostly on the general awareness about the Sustainable Development Goals, and we will not go very deep into particular Sustainable Development Goal. However, if you are running, for example, the world's largest lesson activation in your entity, inside your projects, what we would recommend is to choose one of the above. So whether to run a general workshop as the same as we do in Cartagena, or to choose which SDG your projects are more relatable to, and choose a particular like lesson plan according to the SDG it contributes to, so that it makes a more focused impact and is more aligned to your operations. So the curriculum itself will be launched externally and like massively, let's say, at USPIC Forum. However, for those of you, in the end, you will see there will be a link where you can register if you want to run the world's largest lesson in your entity, so we can have a closer communication later on. So we can send the curriculum for particular lessons or particular SDGs, so you would have an overview towards the whole scope of the workshops that you can also run according to the new SDG curriculum that we are launching. Yep. So that's why, once again, in Cartagena, we are focusing the general lesson about sustainable development and trying to bring kids and teenagers into the context of why sustainable development is important. And then later on in your countries, you can focus on more particular things as well as the general context for the SDGs, depends on the project that you are currently running. Next slide, please. Yeah, and so here MyPEC can take over and I will be assisting you. By the way, MyPEC is our project manager for the world's largest lesson. She's now actually in Cartagena. Already she's originally from Colombia and she's helping us to set up the whole logistical process and as well the agenda and the training. And so I would say the biggest person behind the whole thing in terms of the execution of this initiative. So please welcome and yeah, ask your questions afterwards if you have them.
5 minutes for introduction, just for you to explain who you are, why you are there. That's really important. The objective that you are there to actually create awareness on them, to share with them some ideas, and also listening to them. 15 minutes for icebreaker, because at the end of the day, they are kids. You need to engage them. And something really important here that you will know later also in the virtual training that we have for you as a facilitator is that in general, human beings, we keep the attention during 20 minutes doing the same activity, meaning that of course we need to make it pretty dynamic and we need to make different activities so we can come closer to the kids to actually engage them and get their attention. Then we will have 30 minutes of storytelling and reflection. And of course, this is the most powerful, important, and relevant moment in the whole lesson, because here we will create this connection with them between me, that I am not maybe from your country. I will tell you this story that is, yes, touching you in your reality, local reality, that is also connecting you with the problems that are in your local reality and how we can solve them working towards SDGs or global goals with this. So considering this moment is really important. So you will start with a story that can engage them. Then at the end, you will make them reflect about different questions. So for example, you can tell a story about the last travel that you had, but you can ask them, okay, what do you think are the main issues in your local reality, in your neighborhood, in your school even? And then after they start sharing and after you create this moment with them, then you will have 10 minutes to explain, okay, we have this reality, then we need to work for a better world with the global goals. And that is where it comes, the global goals explanation, that if you're an AIESECer, of course, for you it's easier because um, you have been in different sessions and you have been in touch with this topic in the previous Youth Speak forums and in your local entity or even in your country. So then this is not difficult for you, but for example, do you know that the global goals are not only from UN? No, they are encouraging the global goals, but the global goals are anyone's responsibility, for example, like this kind of messages. Then we will have 20 minutes for their commitment, and here's where we will take the output of the lesson. Output meaning, yes, the flip chart, where they will write, okay, this is my commitment. I commit to, I don't know, recycle my banana every day during the break or whatever. I don't know, like simple things, because anyways they are kids, but what we want to do is that they feel actually close and that they can do something about the global goals. It's not something that the adults or teenagers are responsible for. So what is the agenda? How this will happen in Cartagena? So as I told you, it's inside the Global Youth Speak Forum agenda. So after lunch, we will start with the opening and training. So you will have some minutes to join with your team and decide which story you will tell. Anyways, you will have to do the virtual training in advance. So the deadline to actually pass the exam for this virtual training is July 1st. But don't go through that right now. Let's talk about the agenda. So at 1 p.m. we will have the training and we will have the opening of the world's largest lesson. Then at 2 p.m. you will be traveling to the schools, and then from 3 p.m. until 4:20 p.m. then you will deliver the workshops. Then from 4:20 to 5:20 you will come back to the Youth Speak Forum venue. Why it's 1 hour? Because anyways, Cartagena is not so big, but sometimes there is traffic jam. That's a reality, so we are considering that. And some schools are kind of far of the venue of the Youth Speak Forum. And then you will continue with the rest of the agenda for the Youth Speak Forum. Something important is when you come back to the hotel, then you will have to make the report up, because this is really important. And the report of course includes that you send us all the pictures that you took, of course the flip chart with the commitments from the students, and in general your perspective. What did you see? What did you learn? What did you find out? We need to leave these for both, not only Colombia but also globally, is first, there are 17 goals to achieve 3 extraordinary things in the next 15 years. End extreme poverty, fight inequality and injustice, and fix climate change. Second, we need to care about the planet and about our city. And the third, but not last, is we are young, we are the generation that needs to make this happen. So if you have any question, please ask us. So of course in Colombia, the focus through everything that we do will be focused on peace because of the political and social situation here. It doesn't mean that we will talk only about the goal number 16. No, that's not the idea, but anyways, this will be like the driver of the whole lesson that we will deliver here. Then, talking about the world's largest lesson globally. It works differently because you need to start from the beginning, meaning inviting all your local schools to join. And then get the facilitators. You can run maybe applications, you can run, or you can invite all the people from your local entity, or if you want to involve externals, that's okay too. The only thing that is important here is that you ensure that people that is delivering the lesson has the knowledge about global goals, about answering. For example, if one kid asks you about what's the origin of these global goals, or why we need to work towards this, or like those things that are really important to actually deliver the messages that I already mentioned, then they need to know they need to have the knowledge to actually do it in the best way. So get the facilitators and ask them to do the virtual training. The virtual training will be there. If in case you need some extra support, you can contact me. Anyways, as Tanya said before, we will have a link so you can subscribe. Okay, I want to deliver the lesson in my local community, then we can have a meeting, then we can support you in a better way. In case also if you need any material, presentations, because I want to go to this school or one or another, but I don't have the PPT, or I don't have this material, or I don't have a letter from Project Everyone, like these different things that can help you to actually execute this in the best way. And then, of course, mobilize all those facilitators to your schools and take the output of the lesson. Once again, the wall of commitments, let's say like that. So if you want to participate and you are not a Global Youth Speak Forum delegate, then you can fill this form. It's bit.ly/the lesson globally. I will give you some minutes so you can write it down. Something important, for example, but we cannot deliver this in our schools because they are on vacations. Okay, so you can be really creative and then go to your summer camps, orphanages, or to your global volunteer projects, to those different, let's say, organizations that can actually make this happen. It doesn't have to be only with the schools. You can go also to universities, to group of interest, for example. Your facilitators can also be interns, so it's fine. The only thing that we need here is that you have the will to actually make this happen, to join us in this movement. Okay, so important points here are, first, don't forget to showcase, because we will create this huge report for this high political forum, but also for us as a global youth movement to showcase what we are able to do. Power. Then don't forget the virtual training, so you can join now. I'm gonna show you. This is inside the website. Let me show you. This is inside the website of the international conference. Okay, just a minute. It's loading, so I can show you there. The virtual training, it's something that is really simple, that it will take you as last half of a day, and then you can see the intro video. You can understand better why World's Largest Lesson, who is involved, how we will make it happen. The virtual training consists in 6 sessions. So the first one, introduction to World's Largest Lesson specifically, we will have this live session, that is the one that we are having right now. Then session number 2 is about the context. Then you can find a PPT about Cartagena if you're attending in Cartagena to the Global Youth Speak Forum. But what happens if I am, I don't know, in Norway, for example? Then the important call to action here is that you understand the neighborhood, the neighborhood's reality where you're going, where you're visiting, because, for example, maybe the social issue there is poverty, or maybe the social issue is violence, or maybe the social issue is something totally different or related with climate change. That depends totally from the country. So you need to understand this to actually engage those students with the correct topics. Then, understanding the global goals, all those basic things that we need to know, understanding the context, understanding how to deliver a workshop, those tips that you need to know. Like, for example, you need to be really clear with the instructions. You need to be really clear about what you want from them, and you need to keep their attention with information that is relevant and useful for them. And then you can present the test. So here we will have other 2 live sessions. One is for to talk about Cartagena reality with a partner, that is Como Vamos Cartagena, actually. And then we will have the third one, that is to deliver, is with the professor Jesus Alfredo Larte. He is Colombian, and he has been working 20 years, for 20 years as a teacher, so you can join us to talk with him also, to ask all your questions. And then you can have the different PPTs, other videos, if you are globally, how to join, the links, and everything. So everything is there in the virtual training. So you want to know more about Colombia. And then finally, the test. The test applies even if you are globally or if you are attending to Cartagena. Also, there is a frequently asked questions that I think could be useful for you, like simple things like why are there 17 goals or not the 20? That's some things that that of course it will be important for you to know. There are some things that maybe for us is like it's obvious, but we need to know how to answer in the correct way. So I will continue. Let me stop sharing this screen. So once again, I will show you, it's bit.ly/virtual training and then capital letter for the L of lesson. So you can write it down or check it. Okay, do we have more questions? Okay, not until now. Okay. Now, Q&A phase. This is the time where you ask everything, all doubts that you may have. Tanya, if you want to add something.
Yeah, so I think I will jump in right now. 1 second, I need to mute my okay, so I think what is important is to just to underline what is the network engagement that we plan. Yeah, sorry, it's just two links are open and my voice. Okay, so once again, so what is to underline what is the network engagement that we really need your help with as MCPs. So first of all is to make sure that you will run in your local communities, in your existing GB project or any other spaces that you can come up with is to run the lesson about the words are discussing about the SDGs, whether relevant for your particular context, your particular project, your particular country, or the general lesson about the SDGs. So once again, why do we need it is to showcase what is the power of young people. And as Maitek also mentioned is don't forget to showcase. So it has two meanings. So first one is actually to share all the content that you will be creating throughout this day with us. Why it is important? Because we want to show the activation in Cartagena, but as well that this doesn't necessarily need to stop in one city and be a one-time thing, but it can be easily replicated in other cities, other countries, other communities. So that's why we want to make like a post report super inclusive for all the entities that participated and to showcase all the actions that were done at a level political forum and not only the action that was happening in Cartagena. That is first part, and then as well for the entity itself, this is the best way to roll out the new SDG curriculum that will be launched at USPIC Forum, but as well will be later on implemented throughout the GB projects for the winter peak. So to get engaged right now means that you will actually have a better overview and you can get your members on board much faster with the reshaping of the global volunteer project that will be happening. So that is the second one. The third one I think is very important as well, is that this initiative can be a very powerful tool to engage your partners, because I can tell you from AI example is as soon as we start mentioning that we will be making this thing at USPIC Forum, so pretty much everyone's like, oh my God, how can we participate? How can we join you? So it can be a very powerful thing that you can capitalize on with your own media. You can also work with either universities, your existing corporate partners, or NGOs to make this 12th of July as well big in your country and for your exposure as AIESEC in your entity. And even though a lot of people, as well, MCPs and a lot of MCPs will be at IC physically, but still that is something that can be executed together in close collaboration with your local committees. So if you will engage the network of LCDPs IGV and they would have a task to include the lesson into their existing project timeline and engage orphanages or summer camps or schools, pretty much where you run IGV projects with relevant target audience. That is the only criteria. And will engage them, and your PR or BD can come up with external relevance plan for this event. You already will have a successful case on how you can mobilize, practically use and showcase the impact of young people for the SDGs in your country as well. And I think as well it's powerful if your country is participating, because a lot of governments will be participating at Hello Political Forum and will actually be the ones seeing it. And for them to see your own country on the list and on the map is huge and very important. So I think those are like the biggest things that I would add for the entities in particular, and as well, of course, for delegates of USP Forum. The biggest thing that we rely on you in terms is the preparations through the virtual training, and that's why we try to make it as big and as possible, like as induct into reality, context, etc., as it is possible. Okay, so I will stop talking. So if you have questions, just message us in the chat here, and me and Mike will reply.
Perfect. Thank you, Tanya. Just the last call to action. So as Tanya mentioned, do the virtual training, pass the exam for you be a facilitator, and then fill the form. If you are not in Cartagena, the form is bit.ly/the lesson globally without capital letters. And about the virtual training, if you want to know all the information and how many sessions do I have to do, how many videos I have to watch, then it's bit.ly/virtual training, and then capital letter only for L of lesson. So do we have a deadline to fill the form? No, Joao, we don't have a deadline, but as soon as you fill it, then we can support you better. Also, because the idea is that you can run the world's largest lesson in the same day, so July 12th, so we can run it together globally. Okay. No more questions. The link for virtual lesson is not working. Jose, so the live chat doesn't allow to actually write down the complete link. So you can just delete the space between the slash and the beginning of the link. So I will suggest for you to type it on your browser. Let me know if it works like that.
Yeah, and also we will send an output, and you can click from the copy paste from the PPT, so it will be there as well. And also you will receive very soon information in IC delegate mailers and MCP weekly digest, and with all the links and all the information.
Exactly. Okay.
Also about the deadline for the form. So yeah, so it didn't work. Okay. So as Mike mentioned, we didn't put a date settled yet. However, if you want to get more preparation, more advice from AI in terms of how to run it, get better insight from us on how to prepare it, then the faster, of course, the better. And as well, what we really depend on is the reporting part, because for us, we will need to have, for example, the pictures or the videos from your countries in order to showcase it. And the point is that it will be released already on the video. The post video will be released on 13th of July, which means that pretty much everything that you sent needs to be sent yet on the 12th of July, when overnight we will be compiling the final video for the Hello Political Forum. So that would be a very, very important disclaimer that I need to make. Yeah, okay, more questions? Sorry, me and my are both in a very interesting places right now to deliver this workshop. Logistical. Okay. Oh, beauty. Okay, collaboration. Okay, so if you have no more questions, just to have initial sensing, no pressure, who will be running the work studies lesson in your entity? You can mark +1. Okay, yes, I understand. Buying from MC is everything. Okay, so then sure, take time, talk with your MC, just yeah, think it through. But once again, it doesn't require such a huge investment of the MC resource or even the LC resource when you think about it, and all the action that needs to happen. But nevertheless, people who are joining us for IC, for sure you will be the part of this initiative, because that is something that all our delegates will participate in. So please be prepared, engage your entities to get prepared and to hear and participate in the virtual training. And yeah, then we'll be wrapping out the space. And if you have any other questions, you can message to my or me directly, and we'll try to cover it all with you. Yep. Thank you so much for being here, and have a nice day. Yes, my text email is here. Yeah. So just if you have any other questions, approach me later on. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for joining us. Anyways, if you have any questions, please text us, get us. Yeah, you can text us, or you can send us an email. My email, I will write it on the live chat. So we invite you to do the virtual training, pass the exam, and fill the form. You are not in Cartagena. Thank you very much for everyone who joined us. Bye.